So a while ago, I decided I wanted my videos to look filmic, cinematic, contrast, saturated colors, nice composition, all of that. But when I tried to grade, it got messy. I tried Dehancer. It says it can make your footage look like film, but can a plugin actually make your videos look pro? First, what is Dehancer? Dehancer is a plugin for DaVinci Resolve. It claims it can give your digital footage a filmic look. So Bloom, Halation, can copy all those old film prints like Fuji and Kodak and give it cinematic contrast, not to mention grain and a whole bunch of other stuff. Dehancer did send me this to test out, but they don't have any say in my review. They did send me a discount code, Sleeveless. Use it at dehancer.com to save 10% off your order. Manual grading is still a core part of my workflow, but back then, I didn't have any clue what I was doing. I know I needed to understand contrast, balance, and exposure, all of that, but every tutorial was too complex or too vague. That's when I started wondering if a plugin could teach me how things should look. So I hit up the best beard on the internet, Camera 10. He also just happens to be a professional editor and colorist. We sat down and asked him a few questions that's been driving me nuts.
How long have you been a professional colorist / editor?
Yeah, so I've been editing for at least on a professional level since around near the end of 2011, I would say. So almost 15 years, and then 14 years-ish. And then as far as color grading goes, I didn't really get serious into color grading until about 5 or 6 years later.
What helped you build your eye for color? Is practice, shooting your own footage?
It depends on where you're at. I always try to find one new way of creating a new look. I think when you're first starting out, one of the best things that you can do is, one, shoot your own footage so you know how your camera reacts, and then that way, as you're going through your grading process or your correction process, you know how your tools respond to your camera, and you'll start to actually get a feel for it, because a lot of color grading is feeling it, and rather than the technical side. But you have to get to the technical side right first before you start implementing a lot of those creative processes, because once you have the technical side down, you don't have to think about it. Then all you're thinking about is, okay, what do I want to do to this image, and how do I get this image to its desired result?
Great grading more about taste or training. Some people watching this might not know that there's color correction, which is making your whites white, your blacks black, and then there's color grading, which most time when people say color grading, it's more like the look, the artistic side, right?
Yeah, usually. And so I usually say that there's 4 steps to any color process. First one I kind of already touched on, which is the color management side, and that's really just bringing your footage from what it was shot in to something your display can show. That's color management in its basic form. That can be color space transforms, LUTs, DCTLs, whatever it may be. There's a number of different ways to do that, but that's essentially what that goal is. And then, color correction, like you mentioned, is correcting any of the footage. So if white balance is off, if exposure's off, if there's matching that needs to be done between 2 different camera manufacturers, that would be your correction process. Typically, your grade is what usually comes next, and the grade is when you impart some sort of artistic look or certain feel to your image. But there's a side to that is starting to get talked about a little bit more. That's really been a part of the process the entire time, but not many people really know about because it's its own science in and of itself. But that would be look development. And look development is something that is a characteristic or some type of style that you impart to all of your footage. So grade usually happens either on a per shot or per scene level. Look development usually happens across your entire piece.
What is Dehancer? Is it good for developing looks? I know you made a video on it, but do you use it a lot?
Dehancer is a film emulation plugin, and basically what that means is it's attempting to emulate the photometric chemical process, which is you're taking a film stock, which a film stock in and of itself has a very specific type of look in and of itself. Usually it's called the film negative. So when that film negative gets recorded or shot, it hasn't been developed. It doesn't have that look baked into it yet. So there's a process which Dehancer allows you to break down a lot of those steps to basically pull out all of that information to get a certain aesthetic or a certain look that you can only really get with film. So Dehancer is one of the, I would say, the big three in terms of like the film emulation plugins. So there's Dehancer, there's Filmbox, and then there's the newly released Genesis. If you were to ask me which of the three I think is the most accurate in terms of film emulation, I'd probably say Genesis. But that doesn't mean
$1,000.
Yeah, it's a hefty
is-
amount. But if you're like a professional working colorist and you're working on a number of grades simultaneously, and you're working on in a fast pace, that $2,000 will make your money back like in a week. Like, you'll make it back pretty fast. So it's justified for the people that do that kind of work on a regular basis.
Alright, let me show you how I grade with Dehancer. Got a clip here. I always start with noise reduction. I just come down here to AI Ultra, Analyze, the Studio Only feature. Now I'm going to select this and hit Alt S. Just add a few nodes. Next node is going to be our color space transform. I shot in S-Log 3. So we're going to go from S-Log 3 to DaVinci White Gamut. And DaVinci Intermediate. And then we'll make one of these nodes our color space out. And we'll go from DaVinci Wide Gamut to Rec 709. Gamma 2.4. And it's already looking pretty decent. Now I like to come in here and right click my next node. Set the gamma to linear. Change the key to 0.5. And then come into my primaries and use these little crosshairs to set my white or black. Kind of works the same, but I'm gonna hit the black, get this little icon and pick something that's supposed to be black in my video. So let's pick a really dark shadow. Made it a bit dark. Let's come into the next one. Let's switch this to Parade. And let's raise the gain or the highlights. Can raise the shadows. Ooh, look at all that green. We need to balance that out. Bring down the midtones. Let's actually go back into our white balance and reset this. Let's see if I can find something that's supposed to be white. Maybe this here. Let's see what that does. It's definitely brighter. Now we can come back in here and balance it and bring down our highlights. Maybe something like that. Now I want to add saturation. So I'm going to change the color space to HSV. Turn off channel 1 and channel 3. And then I want to bump up the red and the blue and just everything just a little bit. We can bump up the shadows just slightly and the midtones, so we have a lot of good color saturation. Now the next node, the color space transform. I need to add a few more nodes, so we'll hit Alt S. Now this will be my contrast. So we'll change the pivot to 0.336 and come into the curves and just play around the contrast. Maybe something like that. That looks pretty good. Alright, actually don't need this node, so we can delete it. That's our color space transform. Now I'll do my little orange and teal look, so I'll use this node. Come into the primaries, bump the highlights towards red just slightly, or bump the highlights towards orange just slightly, and the shadows towards teal. Alright, now add one more node, switch over to my vector scope, and just see if it's balanced. It's a little over into the pink and blue and red, so I'm gonna grab the offset and just move it over a bit. See what my blacks are looking like. They could go up a little bit, over, getting there. Maybe something like that. Just a little bit more. That's pretty good. Now I'll add one more node. This is going to be Dehancer. We'll grab Dehancer Pro, throw it on there. Got the input's gonna be Rec 709 because we've converted it back to Rec 709. I'll switch this to, I really like the Kodak Ektar 100. And I'll come down here and switch the print to Fujifilm. It's a little bit dark on this one, so let's actually try Kodak. Let's see what that looks like. Not quite. What about the glossy pavement? That's a pretty cool look. And I like to up the tone contrast. And then I'll come back up here and up the exposure because it got a little bit dark. And maybe play with the comp temperature. Something like that. Let's check the grain. I think we want to get rid of that. Not a big fan of Dehancer's grain, but the Halation and the bloom are really nice. And there we go. That's how I grade with Dehancer. Now, Camera Tim actually checked this out for me and graded the same shot. If you want to see how he graded my footage, I can upload that in another video. Let me know in the comments down below.
On YouTube, cinematic, filmic, that gets thrown around a lot. How do you know when something looks cinematic? And is there a difference between cinematic and filmic?
Let me put it this way. I think usually, not in every single case, but usually when people say cinematic, they're referring to a filmic look. And the reason I say that is because whenever you think of your favorite film in terms of like your favorite grade on a film or the way that a film looks, more often than not, you're going to refer to a film that was shot on film. So the look is a film look, which is why you're seeing so many people, especially even in Hollywood, have very highly engineered, even just film emulation LUTs that are designed by color scientists that really know what they're doing, because everybody wants that film look. Now, why do people want that cinematic film look, or I guess why do people want that film look, and why is that cinematic? There's a number of reasons for it, but the simplest way that I can break it down is the way that film interprets light is a lot different than the way that digital cameras interpret light. So the way that film or print or anything will, and this is like the whole HSV trick. This actually incorporates like why film is the way that it is. But the way that film works is film starts with a white point. And when you start with that white point, if you're adding or exposing anything and you're making changes to that film stock, you're basically subtracting from a white point, which is why anything that's like overexposed or even just has like bloomed highlights, everything has a really nice smooth roll off, or some people refer to film as having like infinite dynamic range. It's not fully accurate, but that's essentially what some people say. But it's because you're starting from that point and you're pulling down, and that's where you get all of your density, your subtractive saturation, your nice filmic looking grain. Because essentially with digital sensors, the problem with a lot of those is you're starting from a black point and you're having to add, based on light information, it's trying to interpret what that light should be based on red, green, and blue photosites. And the reason that creates problems is because one, if you clip your colors, it just kind of just hits the ceiling and then you get a solid white blotch, and it usually doesn't look really good. Or if you have a lack of light, you get the noise, but it's a lot of chromatic noise because it's giving that red, green, and blue weird stuff that never really looks pleasing, which is the opposite of what grain from film looks like. Not opposite, but it's not as nowhere near as aesthetically pleasing. So there's a number of things that digital has to overcome in order to get it to even look close to film, because they're coming at it from like opposite perspectives. So that's why film emulation kind of exists, and like people try to emulate the look of film because film just handles light a lot smoother and a lot cleaner. So that's where the cinematic look really comes from.
I see a lot of videos that are like filmic contrast, and you look at the grade and it's very sharp, it's dark, and it's not the kind of creamy bloomy that you get with Dehancer or other film emulations. So what would you call that? Or would you, just like I said, it filmic saturation basically? Is that it?
Filmic contrast usually comes from usually a lot of some other people call it the filmic tone curve. And you can Yeah, it's a type of S curve that usually has a very, very smooth roll off in your highlights and a smooth roll off in the shadows, and then you sharpen your middle area. So if you were to emulate that in Resolve, it would basically just be like bringing your and this is a very, very simplistic form of it. This is not fully accurate. I'm just showing you like from a practical example how it would work. But it's basically if you were to take, like, let's say this is your white, this is your black, you bring them down a little bit, but then you just like kind of roll off and do that little S curve thing. That's as base of a filmic tone curve that you're going to get. So it's not like a harsh, rigid soft spot. So you still get like that really high contrast look while still maintaining detail in shadows and highlights. And keeping your highlight roll-offs clean, yes.
It honestly still sounds like there's a lot of room for interpretation between filmic and cinematic and the whole thing. But I guess that's kind of color grading in general.
Yeah, I mean, cinematic is just like anything that looks and feels stylized that gives a certain emotion. It's basically a non-video-y look. Something that doesn't look like it was shot on a camcorder. But yeah, basically cinematic, the basic term is something that looks like film.
Do you think Dehancer can help new colorists kind of get over that hump?
Yeah, I would say if you're new and just starting out, I would say in most cases no. And that's because if you try to take the shortcuts, I don't want to call them shortcuts, because I mean the idea of them is that you save time to get to the desired look, and that you're emulating something you can't get with native tools. But with that said, there's something to be said about having your fundamentals correct, because if you have your fundamentals correct, then that makes those plugins, those film emulations, work a lot better. And not just in the grading process, but also how you shoot it. So you know how to expose for it. You know how to, like actually put them into your camera if your camera supports it, and then shoot with it on set. So I would say if you're new to color grading, get the fundamentals down. Like in some cases, I wouldn't even worry about the grade. I would just worry about the correction and getting your footage to where it looks normalized. So if you get to the point where you're comfortable with shooting log footage, and I would say even multiple types of log footage to see how different cameras respond to different exposures, and you can get those to a normalized point and getting it to look like solid, then you can start imparting like a little bit of a look. And looks don't have to be drastic with like 5 billion different nodes or something. You could do a look with one node if you wanted to. I would say get to that point, and then once you start feeling comfortable with how the tools work and how they function, and then you're starting to do this for actual clients, then that's when I would start looking at emulation plugins or stuff that does additional things that you really wish your native tools could do but don't. That's where I would draw the line.
Dehancer doesn't make you a pro, but it can show you what halation, bloom, and what grain is supposed to feel like. For me, it was a great experiment, but it won't replace the basics. As cool as it is, it won't fix a bad shot. It won't expose your footage or balance it for you, but it can push good footage over the top. If you tried Dehancer, you have your own crazy workflow, let me know down in the comments below. If you're thinking about picking up Dehancer, be sure to use code Sleeveless at checkout. Save you 10%. It helps the channel, it helps me out. Check out my macro pack on my Ko-Fi page. Check out Snap Captions and audio. Save 70% off of audio with code SAVE70 and my link, all in the pinned comment down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.